2023 was a really great year for games. So as we near the start of a new year, I wanted to look back on the FPS games that I played and enjoyed the most. Honestly, it wasn't that great of a year for multiplayer FPS games. We're seeing some of the fruits of long-term improvements in live service titles, but also with that come some downsides. Instead of new games, we're pretty much just getting new seasons, new cosmetics, few balance tweaks here and there. It's not all bad, but I'm hoping that the landscape starts to shift a little bit this next year. Who knows? Maybe Splitgate 2 could be around the corner. That would be great. As I mentioned though, these are just going to be the games that I primarily played, so do me a favor, what did you enjoy in the FPS space this last year? Drop it down below. Let's start with Deadlink. Wow. This is like my hidden gem of the year. Fast, Doom-inspired combat. It looks amazing, it runs amazing. It can be a little challenging at first until you get some upgrades under your belt. This, for a $25 game, is just outrageously good. It kind of mixes the best of Hades and Doom Eternal and a little bit of Cyberpunk elements in there. It's got some roguelite stuff, so you clear like 8 rooms in a row and then a boss wave, and then you go on to the next sort of tile set and the next set of enemies to go after. You have 4 different combat shells that you get to pilot, which are basically different classes and weapon setups, but it's really the gunplay and the movement system that makes this so replayable. And like, nobody's really talking about it. It came out late July. I know it had some early access stuff, but now it is out, and I can't recommend it highly enough. If you have a PC, I don't even know, it might be nice on the Steam Deck. It doesn't take a whole bunch of crazy stuff to run it. It is a ton of fun. I loved Deadlink. Won't play it probably much beyond this year, but the studio that put it together, I think it's Grubby Entertainment, this was their first game and they're already working on whatever their next thing is. So I'm excited to see what the studio does and check out Deadlink. Next up is Metroid Prime Remastered. Wow. What can you say about this game that already hasn't been said? It's so fun. You know, I didn't finish this until 2019 when I played through the whole thing on the Wii U, and we need more games like Prime. These single-player FPS games with an adventure element, puzzles, bosses, they're so good. It also helps that this is easily the best-looking game on the whole Switch, at least in my opinion. And it also double helps that the Switch has just been my favorite console since like the 360. I've played so much of the Switch the last like 6 years, it's never let me down. And Prime 1, it's still an excellent game. To address the feedback, yeah, there is backtracking. And if you're a modern player who gets stuck, really just Google, pull up a guide real quick. You don't need a whole lot of assistance to get through the game. And if you do, just look up where you need to go. There are some mechanics that haven't aged super gracefully, but on the whole, Metroid Prime Remastered is so good. And I have to ask, Nintendo, where is Prime 4? I'm really starting to think they're going to do the whole Breath of the Wild thing where we're going to get Prime 4 on Switch and then whatever the new Switch console is. So just have to wait and see. But wow, this game, I hope we see more adventure FPS games like this. So Immortals of Aveum. This game came and went extremely quickly. And I want to put it on here to throw some love to the studio because it is not a bad game. It's a pretty good game and it reviewed pretty well. Not 10 out of 10, but we're talking like 7s and 8s. It is a really unique style of FPS game where instead of weapons, you shoot magic. And it really wasn't on my radar at all. EA had reached out to have some community posts for a promotion. And that's when I first saw the game and I was like, this looks sweet. Now, I didn't finish the title because my PC I built is from 2017, and this is one of the first waves of the new Unreal Engine 5 games, and yeah, this game requires a monster rig to run, so I'll probably finish this game if and when I can afford upgrades for the PC. It really stinks that the studio behind this game was immediately shut down, right after the launch of Immortals. It didn't take very long, and it's really frustrating seeing this happen, where you had a pretty good game. If it would have released further away from Baldur's Gate 3, I think it came out 3 weeks apart, I think Immortals would have had some juice. These publishers need to start looking at spring and summertime for these type of games. They would see so much more love. Instead, they get buried in the mountain of press when you have the game of the year releasing right around it. And just stop putting out good games in seasons where they're going to be forgotten. This is not a bad game. And I don't want to see more of the big publisher talk of single player FPS stuff doesn't work. Well, you're It's like a Titanfall thing again, where you're releasing it right in the middle of such a competitive season. You've got to time it out a little bit better. But I enjoyed what I played from Immortals of Aveum, like the 10 or so hours I put in. It seems like it's a solid, fun single-player game. Jumping over to the multiplayer side, Battlebit Remastered. Dang, this game was so much fun. It was really good to see the success that it had. Such a tiny team, and they made the game that a huge audience of players have just been asking for. Take note, publishers, small teams are coming, and if you don't make it, they will. It's still doing pretty decent Steam numbers. It's not like what it was, but you can still find like 20k concurrence on, which is crazy. I probably won't play that much more of it without friends, and I do admit the voxel art style isn't necessarily my favorite, but it let them create a great game that ran on a huge variety of systems and different specs. You didn't have to have a crazy high-end PC to enjoy Battlebit. Also, huge win, you bought the game, you owned it. You unlock everything just by playing. No battle pass stuff, no live service FOMO, none of it. And we really need to start shouting out when games do this, because it's great and it is always met with strong player reception, like positive stuff going, we need more of this. It's a great example. EA has been letting the Battlefield community down, and you have a small team that really was able to synthesize elements of Battlefield and the milsim genre and make some big improvements. And I hope the large publishers are watching and are listening and going, maybe we should honor the demographic for the game and the fan base that we have, rather than sacrificing designs to create something for an audience we do not have right now. Also, proximity chat was done so well in this game. It made for incredibly fun social moments, which are really lacking from modern multiplayer FPS games. Speaking of not a modern FPS game, or depending on how you classify it, Titanfall 2 was absolutely up there as one of my favorites. No, it didn't release this year, but they finally fixed the servers. I don't know what caused Respawn to decide to do this. I'm recording this video a few days before the Game Awards, so if there is a Titanfall 3 trailer there, yeah, oh my gosh, that would be insane, and that would, all my dreams come true. But I don't think that's probably happening. I'm kind of giving up that hopium at this point. But yeah, they fixed this game on the PC, and it's already dead, once again. Not super dead, but we're back down to like 2K players on PC, and you know, it's a bummer. I've seen this happen over and over again with this game. I love Titanfall 2 to death, but for whatever reason, it's just not sticky for a wider audience. It always has a big event, big sale, whatever, numbers jump, at least before the whole server stuff, and then it would just fall right back down. Now, there was a really great podcast that came out this summer. I have a whole video talking about it. I'll leave link down below, where Mohammed Alavi, the main narrative designer, who was actually like working on Titanfall 3, shares why Titanfall 2 wasn't that sticky. Everybody loved the multiplayer, but they just fell off. It wasn't the kind of game that a wide audience would play for years and months and that kind of a thing. So no matter what, I will always adore Titanfall 2 and desperately hope for a Titanfall 3. And if you get the chance to play it while it's still going right now, it's the time. Any of the big events that shoot some energy back into Titanfall, that's your moment. Go play and enjoy it, because the game is honestly a lot more fun when there's a wide variety of setups and skill levels. Now it kind of settles back into, you know, not that terrible, but it's a different gameplay experience, especially for new people. They'll come in and just bounce off really hard as the veterans are like enjoying the game. And then finally, this one really shifted for me, I want to say August of this year, Halo Infinite. Once the game got squad battle, which is the 8v8 BTB kind of mode, all on classic Halo maps forged, I just was hooked. And Season 5 has been a huge W. AI in Forge, which is incredible. The new firefight mode is a ton of fun. If you haven't played in a while, just come back. Try it. Try some of the firefight, the new Forge stuff. Try the new Bandit Evo rifle in Ranked. And this new network model in firefight is really promising. So it's much better. It still has issues. And it's definitely not a game that I can play like every single day. I'm reaching that burnout point right now where I've wrapped up pretty much all the battle passes, and I've really enjoyed Season 5. I'm very happy to see that, well, the leadership changes really have made some changes this year, right? The shift in tone from Season 4 onward has been almost nothing but positive. So hopefully next year just brings more benefits for Infinite. I have one honorable mention that I need to go back and try, Cyberpunk. Now that it has the new DLC and like that 2.0 update, the game really seems like it's in a solid spot. I played a bunch of Cyberpunk actually back in summer. I had a good time, felt better, but I am planning, I think, of playing a little bit more, and if the DLC goes on sale, that's something that I'm looking forward to trying. It really does feel like the indie space was really the spot for FPS stuff this year, and single-player things, right? But maybe this next year is going to start bringing some of those shifts. I don't think elements of live service are always going to be around on the multiplayer side, but I do think developers are starting to see there's a massive cost associated with it, and it's kind of an eternal grind once you start. But the old boomer that is Dragoon, I'm still liking FPS games, still getting my fill. I'm really hoping for a killer Battlefield game in the near future. I'm hoping we get something good on the multiplayer side, because 2042, it is fun. It is really fun. It's not Battlefield 4 style fun. Those are my favorite FPS games in 2023. If you enjoy, do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and comment with what games in the FPS space you enjoyed this last year. As always, thanks for the support on the channel. 2023 has been a lot of fun. I am super stoked for 2024. I think we've got a lot more good stuff coming down for FPS games. So thank you for watching. We'll see you again in the next one.